Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at an exotic that I never see anybody use in PVE with the Hunter and the build that I use along with it. This exotic will make it so you basically have a pocket rocket launcher that does actually way more damage than a rocket launcher if you guys stack it up right. And overall, you guys will just be one-tapping champions. You can even melt champions in Grandmaster completely by yourself. It is amazing to me that I never see anybody using this exotic in PVE. So I'm going to break down exactly what this exotic is, how it exactly works, and then the builds that I have running along with it, depending on what type of content I am doing. Otherwise, before we completely jump into the video, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you've definitely heard of Raid Shadow Legends by this point. Now, what you might not know about Raid is their latest addition to their huge boss roster, the Hydra. This is a super powered clan boss that is a bunch of bosses rolled into one with unique mechanics. This thing is one of the toughest fights in the game, but you can also get some of the best artifacts in the game as well. So what else is new? Raid is giving away a super limited edition champion to every player in the game. Some of you might know him. It is the esports legend and Navi superstar Simple. Between now and January 28th, 2022, Simple's limited edition champion is available for free to both new and old players of Raid. All you gotta do is log in for 7 days between now and January 28th. Right now is a great time to get started in Raid, and if you use my link in the description or scan my QR code, you'll get some free resources and a free mystery champion straight away to kickstart your game. All this treasure will be waiting for you guys right here, and you better hurry because these rewards are only available for the next 30 days and they're only for new players. But once again, thank you to Raid for sponsoring today's video. But now let's go ahead and jump into this video. So the exotic that I'm talking about is the exotic gauntlets for the Hunter called the Athrys Embrace. So these things are insane. So basically what they do is your weighted knife, so if you're playing the bottom tree Gunslinger, your weighted knife will gain a second bounce, and also rapid precision hits with your weapons grant weighted knife a significant damage bonus and the ability to stun unshielded combatants for a short amount of time. So unstoppable champions, you guys will be able to stun them with just your knife. You don't have to bring in any sort of specific guns or champion mods. This will have it innate, which is very, very helpful in just itself. But the damage aspect of this exotic is amazing as well. So to activate the bonus with the weighted knife, all you got to do is hit 4 rapid precision hits on an enemy, and then you will get a 10-second bonus to your weighted knife, and every single precision hit after that will stack up that timer even further, up to 30 seconds. So you can have a 30-second window when to use this knife and use it on the unstoppable champions or just for extra damage. And like I said, just in itself, it being able to stun unstoppable champions is huge. Normally, unstoppable champion mods for me are usually my least favorite because like right now we have sidearm and pulse rifles. Those aren't really that great in endgame content. It's really nice just to have a way to passively stun them. And then in future seasons, when we have like hand cannons and stuff, it'll be nice to have both under your belt to go ahead and stun those unstoppable champions. And just to show you guys that the damage these things can put out is no joke, here is a clip of me completely solo in a GM taking out an overload hobgoblin. As you guys can see, if you do a full combo correctly and stack up all of your different damages to boost the damage of the weighted knife, you guys can basically one-tap these champions, and it's just absolutely crazy how much damage it can do. And like I said, this is GM. This is absolutely worst case scenario in terms of the amount of damage you need to do and the stacking you need to do, and you can still do it very, very quickly. So any sort of normal content, lower tier nightfalls, anything like that, you guys will be perfectly fine just using the knives by themselves to deal a ton of extra damage. It's basically just an extra rocket launcher in your pocket. If you guys do want to make the most of these gauntlets though, I do recommend weapons that you can shoot very quickly because you just need to get as many precision hits off in a short amount of time as possible so you're ready to throw that weighted knife at a moment's notice. So things like just single shot bows are kind of a little bit tougher to stack up the weighted knife, but if you guys use something like a Trinity Ghoul, that actually shoots 3 arrows a piece, and each one will contribute to the 4 hits that you need for the rapid precision hits to get that bonus to the weighted knife. Now this current season we have a artifact mod called Thermoclastic Strike. This will allow solar and stasis melees to disrupt overload champions. Now something to note with with these gauntlets, if you guys do have the weighted knife bonus, you cannot stun the overload champions. You need the base knife. It cannot do both at the same time. But now that we know a little bit more on how the Athrys works, let's go ahead and take a look at some builds that I have going along with it, depending on what type of content I'm doing. So there's two weapon setups that you guys can use. One would be a 1-2 punch shotgun, and then a Trinity Ghoul. At least for endgame content, you don't have to use the Trinity Ghoul, but a lot of times I do find myself using a bow in this endgame content, and it's also really good ad clear in the process. Like I was saying with the Trinity Ghoul, it shoots 3 arrows, and each one will contribute to stacking that buff. So you really only have to shoot 2 times and hit 2 precision hits to go ahead and be able to throw a weighted knife. Or what you can do is stun a champion, shoot it 1 time with the Trinity Ghoul, shoot it 1 time with your 1-2 punch shotgun, then you can immediately throw that knife with that 1-2 punch bonus. And then with our heavy weapon, I do like to just run like a linear fusion just so I have an option for range damage. It is kind of tough to always get close to an enemy in every single scenario, so it's nice just to have that ranged option. And something else we could do is freeze enemies with, say, like the Zephyr. Our other weapon loadout that we're going to get to here in a minute will use this. But if you guys are using a 1-2 punch shotgun, if you shoot a frozen enemy, they're going to break them out of the stasis. So you'll get the 1-2 punch bonus, but you won't get the stasis bonus damage. So that part, they don't really combine, and it's just better off to use something that you can use at range. Now, the second weapon loadouts that I like to run, and this one I usually run in lower tier content just because the potential damage isn't quite as high. So to get those 1 hits, the enemies aren't going to need as much health. And then otherwise, it's a lot easier to use though, because in our kinetic slot, we're just going to run whatever weapon of choice that you guys want. I normally just run like a Fatebringer for most content. And then otherwise, our exotic that we're going to be using is the Divinity. So this thing works very well with the Athrys because every time we kill an enemy that has the Divinity bubble on it, it's going to count as a crit kill on it. So we can go ahead and get our knife back when we 1-tap them with the knife. And then also, since this thing shoots so fast at 1,000 rounds per minute, it's going to stack our A3's buff up to 30 seconds incredibly quickly, and it all counts as crits. So you just go ahead and shoot an enemy for like a quarter of a second, you're going to be stacked up to 30 seconds. So it makes it incredibly easy to use the bonus damage on the knife at a moment's notice. And then, like I was saying earlier, this is where we can use the Zephyr Sword with Cold Steel. And what we can do is run up to enemies, hit them 3 times to freeze them. And then if you guys go ahead and click 4 to 5 times with your Divinity in a quick succession, you'll have the bonus damage on the knife, and the enemy will still be in their frozen casing. So you will get that bonus stasis damage against or with melees. So that is really nice. And then obviously if you're running Focusing Lens, that's even more damage on top of it. Now, looking at the mods on our armor, on our helmet, I like to run Protective Light just because with this build, we do need to get closer to enemies a lot of the times, and with this setup we're just going to be trying to stack up Charge with Light, and then just whenever Protective Light needs to be active, it is always ready to go so you guys can survive those different scenarios. And then otherwise we're just running Hands-On for the bonus super energy whenever we get a melee kill. That way you guys can get your golden gun more often, which is another really good range DPS option with this setup. And then on our gauntlets, I like to run Elemental Charge because whenever we get a melee kill, we're going to go ahead and spawn a well, so whenever we pick that up, we're going to get to the 2 Charge with Light for Protective Light. And then otherwise I like to run a Champ mod and also Thermoclastic Blooming just for an extra orb. And then on our chest piece, I like to run Taking Charge and then a reserve for whatever weapon that I'm using. So either sword, trace rifle, or shotgun, any of those will do. And then a sniper damage resistance because we can usually kill things that are close to us. Enemies at a distance will be the ones causing us trouble, so let's take less damage from them. And then on our boots, I like to run Melee Wellmaker. Like I said, whenever we get that melee kill, we can go ahead and get 2 Charged with Light when we pick it up. And then otherwise, Absolution, Orbs of Restoration. And then on our cloak, since I have Artifice armor, there's a couple cool things we can do. So if we go ahead and take a look at our cloak, I can throw Focusing Lens or Thermoclastic Strike here in the Artifice slot, and then also fit the other one in here, and that allows me to grab Perpetuation so we can get more dodges, and in turn getting our knife back quicker. In case we miss, we need to use our Gambler's Dodge, we can go ahead and run that. And then finally, I like to run Precision Charge because a lot of times I am running hand cannons or bows, so this will allow me to be Charged with Light more often and activate Protective Light. Now there is a second cloak option that we can run, and that would be Withering Heat, Thermoclastic Strike, and also Shield Break Charge. That way we can still get charge with light pretty often, at least in endgame content when a lot of enemies have shields. And then Withering Heat for weakening the champions. They're going to take 30% more damage. Do not use Withering Heat with Div though. They're not going to stack. So if you're running Div, run the Focusing Lens setup. Otherwise, you can run this Withering Heat setup without Div. And then if you guys were interested in the Transmog setup, this is what I have running right now. I think it looks fantastic with the white and red, and overall just looks amazing to me. Yeah, guys, that is our Athrys Embrace setup. And like I said, I do not understand why not more people are running this in PVE. I almost never see people running this, and it's just so good for burst damage and also just for easily stunning champions. I really do think this is a top tier exotic for the hunter. But hopefully you guys enjoy this setup. If you do, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video to let me know. Also consider subscribing for more Destiny content. We're a little over a month away from Witch Queen, and we got a ton more on the way. There's gonna be a ton of builds to be had once that comes out as well, and I'm really, really excited to jump into it. Otherwise, I stream pretty often over on Twitch, so if you guys want to go follow me on there'll be a link in the description down below. Also, there will be a link to this dim loadout in the description down below if you guys want to copy that into your game. But anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.